Hello, Miss Carol Dean. How are you today? Beautiful day down on Laguna Beach, I bet. It's a gorgeous day out here. I can only imagine what it's like down there on the beach. Wishing I was there in my hometown. Miss the beach something awful, I must say. Just wait a minute or two to see if anybody else jumps on with us. Sooner or later, I'll get this time figured out, what would be a good time for everybody, and just make that a slot. Happy holidays to you as well. Happy holidays to you as well. I don't know, but next Monday, I get to have my left hip replaced. I've ridden my bike so much, I wore it right out. I knew it was coming. Well, today we're going to talk about the solution, and it's step 4. Thank you, Caroline. We talked about what the solution isn't. The solution is not killing the perpetrator or wanting to do harm to them, although those are all very natural instincts I understand thoroughly. But the reality is, if we were to do that, it doesn't really solve the issue at hand, and that's the soul wound that we're going to be carrying around with for the rest of our life. If you're a family person, or even if you're not a family person, if you were to kill the perpetrator, physically harm him, the chances are you'd be in 3 prisons, not just 1. And I know you can sit there and say, Randy, no, I would be very happy if I took care of the perpetrator. Yeah, maybe for the moment, and then you'd wake up with a tremendous amount of remorse, and you'd be in a prison of not being able to see your family and friends for the rest of your life, possibly, and being locked up behind a jail cell, physical, plus the prison that you were in that caused the turmoil in you to want to harm your perpetrator. Again, I understand that. I thought that way for 38 years. But the reality is, what we need to do is we need to heal ourselves. And I'll say this up front. Listen to my words carefully, what I'm saying, and not what I'm not saying, but what I'm saying. We need to pray that the perpetrators get the healing that we ourselves want. We need to pray that the perpetrators get the healing that we ourselves want. Okay? In the recovery programs, page 552, I believe it is, of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it tells us to pray for those that we have resentments for. And pray continually for them, even if we don't mean it. And believe me, it works. So we don't want to harm them, although our first instinct is. Turning to drugs and alcohol is a symptom. It's not the problem. People think, too often drugs, alcohol, overeating, gambling, overspending, shopping. Those are all just the symptoms. Those are all symptoms that make us feel good about ourselves. They're not the problem. So turning to drugs and alcohol doesn't do nothing to heal us and heal our soul. In fact, in the long run, it will destroy us. Okay? So that's what we don't want to do. What we want to do is seek out counsel from somebody, like I talked about last week. Find a good therapist. And in doing so, make sure you do your research with a therapist. All due respect to therapists, I know a lot of them are my friends. I've talked with lots of them, and they, to their own do not know how to handle, especially men that have been abused. So you want to make sure you get somebody that understands, if you're a man, the sexual abuse effects of men and how to heal from those, and likewise if you're a woman. while there's differences, there's also very much similarities. And when I released my book that was supposed to be basically for men, originally, women started reading it and saying, Randy, we relate to everything you're saying in this book as well. So that in itself is proof that the effects of sexual abuse, while men and women have their physiological differences, and in many ways it's different, in just as many ways, the effects are the same. So you want to make sure you can find a therapist that'll walk you through the healing process. And understand this is that we're all different. So the treatment plans that were used on me, we use a variety of them: cognitive behavioral therapists, assault, body work. We did a numerous amounts of different types of therapy. Might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for the next person. Okay, but what does work is the way we can relate to each other. And that's, I heard a gentleman once say that, only another survivor can understand another survivor. And that's pretty much the truth right there. Only we can understand each other in a way that nobody else can. So you want to find a therapist or a good life coach that's knows some healing practices and has walked in your shoes. It's different to sit down with somebody that's been abused, that's done all the healing work, got educated on it. It's a little bit different than the academic psychologists. Some of them are good. There is a big difference when they can sit and relate to what the person's talking about. Generally, that person can really feel and understand that you do care about them in a way that some therapists don't. I'm very lucky. I have a phenomenal therapist, Deborah Meinsperson, right out here in the desert. She's a great therapist. And if you're looking for one here in the desert, I highly recommend her. So we get a therapist, get a good life coach, a good mentor. In the big book, it says you cannot transmit something you haven't got. So in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, sponsors are not the best people in the world to help you through your sexual abuse issues. They don't understand it. They had to have walked through what you've walked through, and many of them have, and many of them haven't. And those that haven't necessarily done the deep healing work. It's just a lot of the words that come up is it happened a long time, get over it. Well, yeah, okay. That doesn't really work so well. So again, you want to find somebody you can trust and that understands you. Okay. I'd say this respectfully. I would not trust clergy, and not because clergy and the Catholic Church has nothing to do with it. I mean, the Catholic Church is a needle in a haystack, and I'm glad to bring it to the surface. But hi, Judy. How are you? But clergy, oftentimes, they don't have the right words, or they don't have the tools to help you through these issues. Okay, so just be real selective of who you reach out to for help in this situation. Okay, so step 4 is your community. Your community. Who are you doing life with right now? Who are the people that you are hanging around with? Are they on a healing journey, or are they just people that are out there and they tolerate you, they try to understand you, but they can't? Are they partying all the time? Are they involved in drugs and alcohol all the time? Because that certainly is a way to escape our pain and our shame with the drugs and alcohol. So you need to look at the community that you're hanging out with. When I got in recovery, I was told, Randy, what do you got to change? Well, you got to change everything. Changing everything, including my friends. Through the course of my 12, 13 years, I have made new friends, and those new friends were there for a season, and I've gone on to newer friends. And so it's a constant change. Some friends will always be friends, but some are just they're there for a season to get you through a certain season. And for me, I was out there running a gunner for all those years, hanging with people that helped me be successful in the eyes of the world. But that season came to a close when I decided to get sober. So I had to find a healthy community that I could sit with. And that community included people that wasn't going to wasn't going to co-sign my BS anymore. Wasn't going to let me get away with the bad behavior. That community is a community that loved me unconditionally. They walked me through my pain. They would sit and listen to me. The biggest thing that a survivor needs in all this, and you would think the biggest thing, according to what you hear out there on Facebook and wherever else, that the biggest thing they need is just to get rid of the perpetrator. Well, no. The biggest thing they need is somebody who's going to sit down with them and listen to them. They don't need to be told what to do. They've been told all their life what they need to do and what they shouldn't do. What they need is they need to be listened to, and they really need to be heard. So you need to find a community of people. It might only be one person to start with. And you have to be very selective of the people that you choose to tell your story with. Because again, a lot of people don't understand it. And they just want to tell you to forgive, forget, and move on. Okay? So you want to find a supportive community. And if you got a good therapist, they're going to be able to point you. Most of them can point you in the way of a good group. It might be AA. It might be Codependence Anonymous. I mean, we're all codependent, and it's Codependence Anonymous is AA saved my life, and Codependence, Coda absolutely changed my life. So it might be Coda. It might be Al-Anon. It might be Celebrate Recovery. It might be church and life groups in church. But here's what I want to caution on any kind of group that you join. Make sure they understand sexual abuse or abuse of any kind. And not only, I can't say this enough, not only that they understand it, but they've done their own healing work and they know the process that it takes. And they know that there's a soul wound that takes a while to heal. This is something, the soul wounds and victims is something that we just cannot pray away. We need prayer. And we need God to walk through this because it's painful and it's scary, a lot of uncertainty. But there's action that we have to take. And if you get with a good group of people, they'll show you what that action is. Their actions that preceded you will be able to guide you on your journey. Okay? So what I suggest is find a good support group. All right? And keep it gender specific. Men with men, women with women. Okay? You want one that's got a pretty clear curriculum. Okay? The curriculum is going to be set. And it's going to be very clear. And that in that group, you're going to talk about what's happening in your life today. How are you